What is going on, everyone? AP over here, Ron Pure Sports. It's a Tuesday. That means PJ's back. We got our two guys here. I got to bring in a special guest this week. Formerly the MVP of the Tuesday show, graduated to the Wednesday show. Probably thinks he's better than us. We brought him in anyways because Hoop is still on vacation. We'll be back tomorrow. We got Uncle T. Uncle T, what is going on, my man? It is so good to have your sexy mug back and to help us pick some winners this week.
Yeah, it's great to be back. I don't know if this is a promotion or demotion, right? I mean, the Wednesday guys will probably think it's a demotion.
It depends on if you pick winners. If you do, then it's a promotion. And if not, you can go back to the Wednesday show.
Yeah, truth be told, we pick winners on both shows, AP, right? I mean, we get it done. Right. You guys, in all honesty, have been doing a great job, obviously, on Tuesday nights with Hoop and you two. And I think the Wednesday crew does a good job too. So no, it's good to be back on. I haven't done a show with you, AP, in quite a while. So looking forward to breaking down the Valero. We had obviously a lot of good hits. Big T really crushed it on the match play last week. Obviously, we all are already looking forward to next week's Masters, and we'll have wall-to-wall coverage. Obviously, we're talking off the air. We'll have some really good coverage on the RPS site all next week. Shows, content. Looking forward to that. But first, we got to pick some winners this week. Maybe build that bankroll for next week.
Yeah, it's such a good point. I was like this, like today, when I kind of go through all my stuff. It was so hard not to want to dive into the Masters, especially when you're seeing like Tiger Woods is out there, in the field and everything. And like, yeah, it's so hard, but we got a good event this week. We got a lot of money to be made, and we can take advantage of others looking forward to next week while we're focused on this week. So we got to stay dialed in. We got to stay focused. I mean, I think, I will admit the bench play, it's after the heater it was on. It's on a cold streak right now. I am so confident in this week. I'm confident in a few things, okay? I'm confident in the play overall. I'm confident that it's going to be a crowd favorite. And I'm confident in that, like, it's just the story behind it is going to be incredible, too. So we got a lot of fun to come this week. Snyder, how was your week last week? And talk to us a little bit about this week.
Yeah, it was a pretty good week for me last week. I had Kevin Kistner, I think, was my highest owned guy. And I had Scheffler up there as well, which carried me through. But the couple of my other guys, I had Xander pretty high up there. I had Berger up there. They kind of let me down, but I still had a pretty good week. I had an outright on Kisner as well, so I had to hedge that off in that final matchup. It was all right. It wasn't nothing near what Big T had. Big T just crushed it. He had the theory down. He put Scheffler up there about 70% or something like that. But all in all, it was a good week for me. And I'm looking forward to diving into this week a little more. I mean, I was looking at this earlier in the day, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to play as much this week. And I start diving in. I'm starting to like a lot more than I had this morning. So we're going to dive into this a little more than I planned on this weekend and play a little more, hopefully build that bankroll up, as Uncle T said. And yeah, ready to jump into this, and I can't wait for the Masters next week.
Yeah, I agree. And I think a lot of people take on that thought process because if I recall, in this event, we typically see like the more popular and good plays are going to be higher owned than normally what we'd see. And a lot of that is just because I think people are relying more on optimizers, industry information. So my advice is like, keep in mind, whatever plays are touted and whatever the projected ownership is on those plays are probably going to be higher owned than most weeks. And I think that creates a really interesting opportunity in tournaments. So we're coming off a nice week last week. I mean, I think across the board, it was a good week, even though Jordan Spieth, who's in the field this week, let me down. And we'll go on a rant about him because I felt good about the play. My thing I was so angry about is that he was high owned. He was like one of the highest owned guys. I thought he was going to be a lower owned play. And I thought he was a little sneaky. He wasn't at all. And so at least he was higher owned and he let us down. But this guy, I'm watching him play. There was maybe 5 occasions where he has a short iron. He has like a wedge in his hand and he misses the green. Like it's not a pretty sight, especially heading into the Masters. And Coop, this is for you. I know you'll get to the show. I retract my statement. I said I wanted to bet an outright on him. One, it's a bad bet because his odds are terrible. And two, I'm going to change my mind again. It's about probably the fourth time I've changed my mind, but we still have a lot of time until the Masters get here. So that's my right to do. We change our minds here and we find winners. So yeah, I'm excited about this week. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you haven't yet, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It helps us each and every week. We're trying to grow our platform and it helps us keep this free for all of you that are listening. So let's dive into it. Snyder, I'm going to kick it back to you. We're at the Valero Texas Open. It's not the best course, not flashy or anything, but rightfully so. You don't want a flashy event, like crazy course right before the Masters. We want everyone focused on the Masters. So talk to us a little bit about TPC San Antonio this week. What stats are you looking at?
Yeah, TPC San Antonio. It's a par 72. It's gonna measure just over 7,400 yards. The greens here are gonna play a little slower than usual, probably only right around 11, maybe 11 and a half on the Stimpmeter. They usually try and mimic somewhat of what Augusta's going to show some guys next week to kind of prepare some of these guys. So that's always interesting. The Bermuda greens here will be overseeded with POA. This is one of the toughest places to hit the fairways off the tee on tour, but the rough isn't terrible here. I mean, the tree line fairways will cause some trouble at times. It's definitely better to hit the fairways here so you have a better sight at the greens. You're going to be hitting a lot of long irons here. This is a longer course. A lot of the iron, the yardages are going to be like 150, 200, and even over 200 in a lot of cases, as 3 of the 4 par 5s are going to play near 600 yards. I think 3 of the 4 play 590 plus. So, I mean, there's definitely going to be a lot of meat there. Some driving distance is going to be good here. 3 of the 4 par 3s here are going to play over 200 yards as well. So, I mean, you're going to be hitting a lot of these long irons. The greens here are a little larger than normal at 6,400 square feet. So that'll be interesting. There's going to be some runoff areas as well, some collection areas that some of these balls are going to gravitate towards if you're a little off on your approach shots. And some of the key stats I'll be looking at this week: strokes gained approach, off the tee, fairways gained, bogey avoidance, and opportunities gained here.
Yeah, just a few notable winners. Jordan Spieth last year. There was no event in 2020. Corey Connors, who looked phenomenal last week, but who also played a ton of golf. So you got to wonder. And I think he's going to be popular. So he's a guy that we're going to talk about this week. Andrew Landry, Kevin Chappell, who's in the field this week. Charlie Hoffman, who's a course horse. We'll talk about him. Jimmy Walker. We got Party Martin, Laird. Former winner, Brendan Steele. So you can kind of get the type of golfer, good ball striker, tee to green, second shot type of guy is who you want here. And it doesn't have to be a big name either. And so that's what we're going to be looking at this week. If you're new with us, we go tier by tier. We're using Draftkings pricing. We start with 10K and up, and then we go down. We go 9K to 10K, 8K to 9K. And we find winners. That's the goal of the show. And we want to help all of you make money. And speaking of making money, I'm going to start with my main guy here, Uncle T. Uncle T, we got this range, 10K and up, starting with Bryson, who, I mean, we're not Snyder, but I like Bryson, and I will flip flop. I will admit with him. I know you and Big T and love Bryson. I love that he won Big T $1 million, and so I have a soft spot for him too, just because that's so awesome. But I will flip flop on him all the time. Right now, I'm not on him, but we're going Bryson all the way up to Rory. What are you doing with this 10K and up range?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting range. It always is, right? In a more loaded field event, we're always kind of deciphering on how we want to start our teams. I think this week, similar to one of the tournaments, maybe about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I can't remember which one, where obviously we had a nice, group over 10K, and then quickly we see the 9K and then into the 8K, where it really goes downhill as far as the quality of talent that we've got to choose from. So for me up top here this week, I mean, Rory at 11-2 is very fair price tag, obviously, in this event. He hasn't played here since 2013. He did finish second that year, but clearly we can't put anything into that. I do play a little bit into he took off last week. He didn't play in the match play where he's actually had a little bit of success. So he takes off last week where, let's call it like it is. He could have collected an easy paycheck, right? Last week. Instead, he rests and decides to play in this tournament just to get tuned up for the Masters next week. So for me, I think the narrative is if I'm going to go up here, which I think there's a case to be made, and I'll be looking forward to getting your all's opinion. There's a case to be made to completely fade this whole range this week too. And I do think that could be a more popular build than normal. You know what I mean? As far as fading this whole range, but I do think he's clearly the class of the field. If he comes ready to play and on point, he could clearly win this by 3, 4, 5 strokes. We both know that, or we all know that. So I do like Rory a little bit. I couldn't imagine in any scenario paying 10-8 for Hideki Matsuyama here. He hasn't played since the T20 at the API earlier this month. And again, you're not getting any discount on this guy here. He's going to come in. Him and Abe Ance are probably the two lower owned guys of this upper tier. So for me, definitely an easy fade there. Jordan Spieth, I had a little bit of interest in earlier in the day, but I think I'm going to fade Jordan. He comes in as the defending champ, which is obviously he's won here and, he's had a little bit of success, but I just can't overlook the current form that he's in. And I want to see, guys, what Rory and Spieth do this week, because I think their success or not success this week is going to have a lot to do with their ownership, because the pricing is already out for next week and they're at 10K and 9,800 next week, where they're going to be probably pretty popular. They may be popular if they don't do well this week. If they both happen to crush this week, I think their ownership, with the pricing already coming out next week, I think their ownership could go skyrocket next week. We'll see how that goes. But AP, I do have a little bit of interest in Bryson this week. I don't really have any interest in the top tier other than Rory, but I may put one team with Bryson just because I don't think many people are going to go there. He's in horrible form. He's coming off the injury. He's just playing some golf this week, hopefully to get ready for next week. But hey, he comes out tomorrow, or I'm used to the Wednesday show. If he comes out Thursday and maybe shoots a 66, 67 and gets engaged in this tournament, I do think he can compete and win this thing. So the short answer, or not short answer, but to get Snyder in here, I like Rory number 1 for sure. And then I'll take Bryson number 2, but it's a group that I definitely don't mind fading the entire range.
I mean, Uncle T, when a guy who's almost on the Champions Tour named Richard Bland, Big Dick Bland, beats you in your group and you're Bryson DeChambeau, I mean, how can you play him this week?
He wasn't overly engaged. He knew he wasn't going to advance. So
yeah, he's thinking about the Masters.
Yeah, he was working on some things, I think.
Uncle T, I like your idea of fading this whole range. I can definitely get that. I will say, so a little sneak peek, usually Hoopster on the show, we had to upgrade this week to Uncle T. Hoopster behind the scenes is saying he's either fading Rory or locking him into all of his lineups. And he said it's either or. And he's heavily leaning towards locking Rory in. So that's something to keep an eye on, because I went, part of my flip-flopping not too long ago, I was very high on Rory. I thought we could see a return potentially to world number 1. Hopefully no one checks the receipts on that take, because I'm not feeling as confident about that take, and it was probably a pretty bad take, but we'll see. It would be a nice start for him to have a good showing this week heading into the Masters. But Snyder, what are you doing 10K and up this week?
Yeah, I don't really have too much conviction on any of these guys up here. I mean, Rory's kind of a guy I usually have been playing, but I just don't know if he's in it and if he's going to be that motivated here to win here. If he's just coming in to get some reps in, get some live reps in, just kind of getting prepared for next week. I mean, next week, that narrative's going to be there again. Everybody's going to be talking about Rory with the chance to win the Grand Slam, yada, yada, yada. So he's going to catch some steam next week. I don't think I'm going to get to him this week. Hideki right below him. I don't think I can play him either. He's got some back issues, forced him to withdraw the last event. Made a ton of people tilt. I wasn't on him, luckily. I generally don't like to play Hideki over 10K, let alone near 11K. So I think that's an easy fade for me here. He will be pretty low owned, though. I don't think anyone's going to really touch him there at this price tag in with the status of him. But last week, I kind of bought in on Spieth. That kind of that hurt me. I bought into the narrative of him playing in Austin and whatnot, paid the price for that. Definitely not going back here this week. I know he won the event here last year, but the swing looks pretty terrible right now, so I don't want anything to do with him here. So that's an easy fade for me. I do have some conviction in Abe Answer, though, here. He's probably the only guy in this 10K range I'm looking at playing. He gets a home game here. Has talked about how he loves playing in Texas here, loves the setup of the courses here. Doesn't mind the weather conditions here as well. So he's got that really good ability to hit the fairways off the tee. So I like that here. I think that'll be a pretty big advantage for him. It's one of the tougher tracks to hit the fairways at. So I think Abe's going to have a pretty good advantage there. He played pretty well at the match play last week. Dusted my guy Morikawa in round of 16, I think. So he's looking pretty good there. So I'm going to be on some Abe Answer. I think 10-3 is a fair price for him in this field. Bryson, I couldn't imagine playing him here. He still looks hurt. I think that's an easy fade. Hopefully he gains some traction. People play him here due to his distance off the tee. But, I mean, he's just terrible around the greens and hitting fairways. He's been absolutely terrible as well. So I'm going to be off of Bryson there. Just mainly Abe Answer for me here. I may have to get a little bit of a Rory depending on what Hoop says he's going to do, but I think mainly it's just going to be Abe Answer for me in this range.
Yeah, I think I'm on page with both of you guys. I think there are 3 easy fades here. It's Bryson, Jordan Spieth, and Hideki Matsuyama. I think those are the easy fades in this range. I was leaning towards fading Rory because I'm like, man, Masters is next week. Does he really care about this week? But there are things clicking with his game. Obviously, I highlighted, a few weeks ago, but the ball striking looks good. He can obviously, if his driver's on, he's well above, the field in that category, unless obviously Bryson's driver's on, but it's not. And yeah, he needs positive momentum and the putter is showing signs of life too. So look for him to have a good showing, but is he going to pay off his price tag? And so I'll sum it up. I kind of agree with Hoop's take on it, where you're either all in or you're not. You're all in on him or you move off. And I think if you move off, it's fine. I think that the range below the 10K range, there's a lot of solid options. You can make a lot of solid lineups. I do agree with you, though, Snyder. Abe Answer is the guy I would look at. Now, if you remove last week and what we saw, and if you remove the fact that he does like to play in Texas and specifically here in San Antonio, if you just look at his results, it does not justify a 10-3 price tag. But we know the type of upside he has. He's a WGC winner. He hits a ton of fairways, which you want to do here. And as you said, we saw signs of life last week. So I can get on board with that. I think for me, I got to go Abe, but I'm not too high on this range. Uncle T, I think, did you have a 1 and 2, or is just, not too high on this range either?
Yeah, I'm not too high on the range for sure. Like I mentioned, I do think Rory is a clear 1, and it's not going out on a limb there at all. I do think just to put a cap on that thought, at least for me on Rory, guys, is again, like I mentioned, if he wasn't fully engaged of playing this week and really giving it his all, I kind of, again, I waffle sometimes on this comment too, but you say, oh, well, how much is he going to be wanting to play? If he's teeing it up this week, he's wanting to win the damn golf tournament. Let's be honest. Yeah. I mean, now if he starts out and he shoots, if he starts out and shoots a 72 or 73, 74, clearly he won't be, and he'll be working on some things. But you can't tell me he took off last week's match play, which is, some decent money, at the match play. And not that it's a money thing either. I'm just saying I put more stock in that Rory will be engaged this week is what I'm kind of ultimately getting at. And I really don't have a 2, but if I do, I get your all's point on Abe Answer for sure. He's 4 for 4 here. He is excellent tee to green. I just can't get over the sticker shock of 10-3. And I realize it's relative to the tournament, but I'll let you guys play Abe Answer. And it's a good call. I won't have any Abe. And then if I had to play a second guy, it would be Bryson.
Yeah, very good. Snyder, your favorite in this range, and then take us down into the 9K range.
Yeah, it's going to be Abe Answer for me in this range. I think that's probably the only guy I'm going to play at. It is kind of weird for me to see Rory here. He's never played in this event, at least in the last 5 years. He's never played in this event, so that's kind of interesting to note. But Rory would probably be the second guy in this range for me, but I think it's just mainly going to be Answer for me here. In this 9K range, I've got about 5 or 6 guys I'm looking at here. I'm only going to play one of these two guys. I think Corey Connors and Chris Kirk are going to be two of the highest owned guys on the whole slate. Like I was looking at ownership just a little bit ago. They had Rory as the number 1 guy, and then Connors and Kirk were 2 and 3 for ownership so far. So I think I'm only going to play one of these two guys. I think I'm leaning towards Corey Connors right now. He's got better odds to win than Answer and Bryson. He's coming off a great run at the match play event. 3rd place there. Did play 7 rounds in 5 days, but he's young and can handle that. I'm not worried about that at all. 26th, 1st, and 14th in his last 3 trips here. He's definitely has him in play for me. Strong recent form as well. So I think I'm going to lean towards Connors. There's a guy a little cheaper than Chris Kirk that I think is just as good of a play at lower ownership. So I'm probably going to end up off Kirk on Connors there. My guy, Mcnealy, he's priced up this week, but he's made 17 of his last 18 cuts, been very consistent cut maker, has really improved his off the tee game, which I think is going to definitely help him out here at this event. So I'm going to be on him there. Finished 7th at the Genesis, nearly won his pod last week, lost that match play, lost in a playoff there. I think it was to Kevin Na or something. It was really close battle there. He came out guns blazing in that first match and just took it to that poor soldier. I don't remember who he beat, he won 8 holes up or something like that. So definitely like Mav coming in here. Keegan Bradley's an interesting guy. He's coming off that missed cut, but he was really good before that, though. 11th at the API, 5th at the Players. I can give him a pass on that Valspar missed cut, but I mean, you know what you're getting with with Keegan Bradley when you play him. He's kind of boom bust. He can go full on Keegan at times, but he's generally improved that as of late. He's been solid event history here. Finished 23rd in this event last year, so I like that. Ranked 2nd in approach, 3rd in tee to green over the last 50 rounds. So he's got a good long history here with his recent form. It's going back quite a ways.
Along what, Snyder?
Kind of rambled some words together there, but that'll happen. Another guy in this range that's going to be really popular, it looks like, from ownership early on. Another guy that looks to be top 5 in ownership. Our guy, JJ from the bet side, I'll be happy to see Mr. Gary Waterlands here. And there isn't too much water in play here this week. I think there's only water in play on 3 holes. I mean, Woodland makes sense here. I just don't think I'm going to be on him at that ownership, especially if I'm going to be playing Connors and some of these other guys. But I think I'm going to be off Woodland. I think Connors and Mcnealy are going to be my top 2 guys in this range early on that I'm looking at.
I mean, Keegan, so obviously I was high on Spieth last week. And so obviously one of the nice things about the WGC match play is if you have a ESPN Plus membership, you're able to watch a ton of matches. And everyone's watching college basketball, and I'm literally all my screens, I got the match play up, which limited my college, my March Madness, viewing between that and NBA. But Keegan, one, I will say the putter looks improved. Now, did he miss some short putts? Yes. And I laughed at that, but I like the emotion out of him. When he lost to Spieth, he was kicking his bag. He was punching it, and he felt he should have won that match. While I was making fun of him in the moment, I kind of like that out of him. It shows a lot of heart. It shows that he wants to win right now, and it shows that he understands that his form is pretty good. So I love the Keegan Bradley comments. I can definitely get on board with that. Uncle T, this 9K range, I think, is the best range that we're going to talk about. Well, this in the upper 8K range. But talk to us about the 9K range. What guys are you on this week?
Yeah, for sure. This is a good range for sure. Snyder brought up some really good points. I'm kind of liking more of the upper range here. Again, I may have most of my teams fading the entire 10K, so I don't mind starting with 2 of these guys for sure. With most of my builds, I don't mind the Corey Connors call at all. Snyder at all. Obviously, off the T3 at the match play, you can say, is he tired? Obviously he won here in 2020, but like you mentioned, I'd lean on the side of he's going to carry the momentum into this tournament and compete for sure. I do worry a little bit about the ownership because, again, we're going to talk about, or you've already talked about, and I'm getting ready to talk about, there is a lot of ownership being soaked up in this range. Not going to play Siwoo Kim, just too high of a price tag for me. He does have nice history here, but it's going to be a fade for me. Matt McNealy, one of my favorite plays on the board this week, went 2-0-1 in match play last week and didn't advance. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, he might have been the only guy to be 2-0-1 and not make it to the knockout round. So don't mind him at all here. And actually, not a bad play at 35-1, to be honest. We'll talk about that stuff later here in the the pick segment and then the pet segment and then tomorrow night on the bet show. But I do like 35-1 Mav McNealy. Chris Kirk, again, him and Woodland right below him. You got Corey Connors, Kirk, and Woodland. I'm going to side with Corey Connors. I'm going to probably skip Kirk, not because I don't like him, but I just can't play all these guys in here. I'm going to go to Gary Woodland. Snyder, it's going to be a preview for tomorrow night's show on the bet side. But I really like him here. He comes in nice form off a T6 here last year. I don't think the wind, at least initially now here on Tuesday night, it could change. Texas weather, the wind could come up. If it does, I don't mind him. He's a decent wind player. Prior to the miscut at the players who, I'm not going to hold a miscut at the players, against anyone with that weather that they had to endure. A couple top fives and a T21 recently. I do think he's rounding into a lot better form to start this 2022 season. So I do like Gary Woodland at 9,300. I get your all's points on Keegan Bradley as well. I probably play Keegan more than most. I didn't have him in my initial thought coming into the show, but you guys have maybe sold me on maybe moving Keegan in. And then Tony Finau, I don't know what to say about Tony, our guy. He just, 9,100, he just comes in awful form. Obviously next week he's played well at the Masters, but I just can't do it. And Jason Day, he needs a win to get into the Masters like most of these guys do. But the big name guys like Jason Day, and we'll get to talking about Kuchar and the Poulters and the Ricky Flowers, all these guys, they don't have a spot next week yet. So could Jason Day come out and win this and get him a ticket to next week? He could, but not for me. So AP for me, I'm probably going to go Gary Woodland 1 and Mav McNealy 2, but I will have Connors also in my pool.
So one comment, Tony Finau, we're not playing him this week, but keep an eye on him. Like, I think you make note of him. He's a true big game hunter now. Like, I think he only cares about the big events. He said that. He's been public about it. I want to see some life in his game. We haven't seen any life in his game in a while now. I got to see something this week, and because he's going to be very low owned at the Masters, and I think he's definitely going to be getting up for the Masters. So I'm going to be watching him close, but I think he's an easy fade in this range. Otherwise, I agree with you quite a bit. Connors, for me, I love what I'm seeing. I love that he's at this event. Obviously won here, so he's going to come back. T14 last year, and he's playing good. I think it's just these guys have to look at what Scotty Scheffler's doing and just say, hey, when I'm hot, you got to play. And I think Corey Connors is hot right now. And yeah, the fatigue factor, sure. Like, that's a lot of golf. These dudes wake up and play golf every single day. Like, the fatigue, I get it, but I'm not going to buy into it here. He's going to take a few days, collect himself. The ball striking is just so good. He absolutely dusted Dustin Johnson. Like, it was embarrassing. Like, he absolutely owned DJ. And DJ probably did ship it in a little bit there after not completing the comeback against Scotty Scheffler, who is absolutely the GOAT. But, to continue on here, Matt McNealy, I think, is a phenomenal play. I like him. I'm going to have some shares of Snyder's boy. Siwoo Kim, I'm kind of torn. Like, I feel like in this range, he's going to be the guy that's lower owned. I love the history here. He's showing a ton of upside, and he's a very good ball striker and good at finding fairways. So I'm torn on him. The price tag does feel way too high, but if I was fading the 10K and up range, I could make the case to play him, because then I could play a few others. Chris Kirky, everyone knows I'm a Chris Kirky guy. Last name is Kirky, if you didn't know. And if you spell it Kirk, you're spelling it wrong. Chris Kirky, I think this guy's winning a tournament this year. I think he's winning a tournament this year. He's playing phenomenal golf, and I would not be surprised if it was at an event like this. This is exactly the event that he has a ton of upside in, I think, where it's a second shot course, get your irons out, hit good golf shots, and make a few putts. And I like where his putter's at right now. He has a T5 at the Arnold Palmer, T7 at the Honda, and 14th at the Phoenix Open. And then his history here is good. You know, T6 here last year, T8. I mean, man, he's either missing the cut or he's inside the top 15. So I'm going to be very overweight on Kirky. Gary Woodland, I think, was another good comment, Uncle T, that you were on. Like, Gary Woodland is just like, look, this is a guy, he's a major winner. You know, talent alone is there. And when I look at his game, like when he was in his prime, his driver was just his absolute weapon. He's just starting to get it back. Like, if he gets the driver back, I think he's going to be there. So I have some interest there in him. And I love the T66 that he had last year at this event. And I'm not playing him at the Masters, so I'd rather play him here. And then Keegan Snyder, you had the mention on Keegan. I like Keegan this week. Like, I like the, him punching his bag. Should have beat Spieth. Like, I kind of like that from him. So I love this range. I'm going to be very overweight on it. And the more I talk about it with you guys, the more it has me wanting to just fade the 10K and up guys. Because, at Run Pier, we take stands. We can't play everyone. We can acknowledge that, Rory is in play. Abe Answer is in play. And if you want to get cute, you can play those other guys. But it's much better over the long term to take stands. So I'm really leaning towards fading that 10K and up range and getting overweight the 9K range and upper 8K range. So for me, my 1 and 2, though, has to be 1, Chris Kirky. And then 2, I'm going to go man, it's really tough, but I'm going to go Gary Woodland. Snyder, you're 1 and 2 in this range.
I'm going to go Connors 1 and Matt McNealy 2.
Love it. Uncle T, you're 1 and 2, and then take us down into the 8K range.
Yeah, my 1 is going to be Gary Woodland, and 2 is going to be Matt McNealy. I do want to mention one other thing, AP. While you were sitting there talking there, bringing up some great points about the range, I just was doing some playing around here. And I think, I don't know if this would be really contrarian on a Tuesday night or not. We got 2 more days, or tonight and tomorrow before we make our lineups. But I think it would be really different if you faded the 10K range and then faded the upper 9K range. I don't know if that's getting too cute, if you will, as far as building. But if you look at it, obviously fading the 10K range feels like it's going to be different, at least a little bit on the surface. And then how about fading some of them top 9K guys as well? And then you're completely different, in my opinion, on a tournament where, like you mentioned in your opening, kind of monologue, AP, is, most of the people that are playing this, they may be looking ahead at next week. I don't know. It's just something I thought about while you were talking. Do you guys have a take on that? Maybe. And again, I'm not saying I'm going to do it for everything. I just feel like that could really be unique.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot, because I think, as I said, Chris Kirk has winning upside here. I think a lot of these guys do. So I can definitely get on board with that.
Yeah, I mean, even starting to line up with Kirk and Woodland, and skipping Connors and McNealy, I think would be really unique. But just thought I'd mention it since I was playing around with it there. But the 8K range here starts off with a guy that he's probably, tune in tomorrow. We'll have all of our cores and tiers up on the site at some point tomorrow in our write-up. Adam Hadwin is going to be really difficult for me to overlook this week. He's off a T9 at the Players, T7 at the Valspar, really good putter. T23 here last year, he's 8,900. Again, these guys that we're going to be talking about the rest of the show, these are guys, and us three and the guys on Wednesday do these shows every week. Clearly, these guys in this range are guys we're used to seeing in the low to mid, maybe in some cases upper 7K range. But 8,900 for Adam Hadwin feels too cheap for me, as crazy as that sounds. I think he could be 92 or 9,300 in this field. Again, he's got, he did have the miscut a couple weeks back, but I really like him here. Excellent putter. Sign me up for Adam Hadwin. Our boy Streal Daddy up at the top, 8,700 up at the top of this range as well. Off at T22 at the Players. T7 at the Valspar. Excellent history here. Couple top 10s his last 2 trips to this course. So like him quite a bit. Where I think I might make more of a stand, at least judging off of what little I heard today throughout the industry, Johnny Vegas and Luke List. Very nice plays. You guys might like them as well. Very good plays. I'm probably going to be off of those two because I'm not going to play the top 4 guys here. I like Hadwin. I like Streelman. I'll probably pass on Vegas and List only because of, again, I don't want to play 4 of these guys up top. Davis Riley coming off the T2 last week at Valspar. He ranked 7th on tour in total driving. So this guy, he's going to be a really good golfer, and he could easily compete in a tournament like this. But I'm going to pass on Davis Riley and go down towards the bottom of the board. And I'll save some comments for you guys. But Charlie Hoffman obviously is the guy that is coming in awful, just awful form, but has the most elite course history in this field, right? He's got a couple seconds, and he's won here back in, 2016 or 17. So I don't think as much as the course history is there for Charlie. I mean, he's been slumping so bad. I just don't think I can go there. He is going to be fairly low owned if you want to play that narrative. I think Mito Pereira will get some steam and talk up. Not a bad play at all. I would rather go down to the bottom end here. Ryan Palmer is 8K. Not in the greatest form for sure. 3 or 4 miscuts in a row. Been fine tee to green, but his putting's been bad. But I look as well at 8K. He's 40-1 on DK Sportsbook right now, 40-1 around guys that are 65, 70-1. So I look at that probably a little bit more than most. So give me a little bit of Ryan Palmer. And then one of the guys I like the most in this range outside of Hadwin and Streelman is going to be Patton Kazire. Like him quite a bit. He's a nice pivot, in my opinion, off of Mito Pereira, who will be I think will be at least a fairly similar ownership range. T9 here a year ago. So sign me up for a little Patton Kazire at the bottom of this range.
Yeah, no, I like that quite a bit. Charlie Hoffman, obviously, interesting discussion around him. Course horse, former winner, a bunch of second place finishes, bad form, like you said. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very interesting. Then, also, like you said, Adam Hadwin, we're going to get the invasion of the Canadians with Hadwin and Corey Connors, both sporting winning upside. And we get our speaking of Canadians, we get our favorite one tomorrow night on the premium show, which all of our members over here at Rumpier Sports will get to tune into tomorrow with Toe Tag and Tambo, Big T, and then Uncle T. Are you doing double duties? We got
I can do it. Yeah, I can do double.
Awesome.
I think Coop said he might try to make it if he gets back into town in time and show up. But if you guys need me, I'm good.
Yeah, we got to get Hoopster on the show too. So, and that'll be a ton of fun. And speaking of premium content, we're gonna have a ton of content coming out for the Masters next week. So make sure you stay tuned for all of that. If you haven't yet, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, that red button right there in the right-hand corner. It helps us out a ton. Snyder, 8K range. We're going all the way down from, Ryan Palmer up. What are you doing with these guys?
Yeah, there's about 3 or 4 guys I have quite a bit of conviction on in this range. Adam Hadwin, I think he's the guy I'm going to play over Chris Kirk. I think he's going to come in a little, maybe like 15% versus like Kirk might be 20, 25%. So it's not too much price difference or ownership difference, but I think he's right there. His win odds are right at 40-1. Kirk's are right at 25 to 30. Hadwin's actually 33-1 to win at FanDuel. So I like Hadwin there. He's been really good at finding the fairways off the tee, ranked 2nd in bogey avoidance, finished 23rd here last year. He's riding some good momentum too heading into this event, back-to-back top 10s in his last 2 events with a couple of top 26s as well over his last 5 events. So I like his recent form coming into here. I'm going to play Hadwin for sure. I'm going to go right down. I'm going to play Streelman as well. I'm pretty high on Streelman this week. Top 10 in fairways gained, back-to-back top 10s in his last 2 trips here. 7th at the Valspar, a couple other top 25s in his last 4 events. So he's one of those guys kind of like Hadwin where his recent form is going to match with good course form here. So I definitely like those 2. I'm going to be overweight on them. I don't care if they're 20% or so. I'll have like 35 or 40%. I'm not too worried about getting overweight on those guys. Johnny Vegas, I think I have some interest in Johnny Vegas. He's good on the par 5s. good bogey avoidance, good ball striker. I think he's going to play well here as he has at times here in Texas. So I'm going to probably like field him. I think he'll be right around 15, maybe 17% owned. So I'll probably have about that much of him, I think, in my MME. So he's a minus 126 favorite over Jason Day in the betting markets as well. I'm going to be fading Luke List here. I think he might see some ownership. He's kind of one of those trendy picks to win at events like this. Hopefully he can gain some ownership. I'm not going to be on. He did finish 17th here last year, but his previous 3 trips here were all outside the top 80. Not in the best recent form too heading here, so I think that's an easy fade for me. Russell Knox, I might have a little of. He's a guy that's ranking out really good in the the stats markets there. Solid recent form, making 8 of 8 cuts here. Great finish at the Players, finishing 6th. I'm going to be on him there. 7th tee to green, 4th approach, 15th in fairways gained. I might have some Mito. I'm not sure on him yet. 3 top 30s in his last 4 events. I like the price tag on him here, but I'm definitely going to be on Kazire. I think Kazire is going to be like 15 to 20% owned, but I don't worry about that. I'll have double that easily. I think he's a great value at this price range. The stats line up really good for him here. I think he's one of the better values on the slate here. 7 of 8 cuts, highlighted by a 10th place finish at the Waste Management Open. 5 of his last 7 cuts have been 33rd or better, so I really like him. He's ranking really good in the stat models as well, so I'm going to be pretty high on Kazire. And I think that's about it for me in this range. I'm going to be fading Charlie Hoffman. I know he's going to be catching a lot of steam with his recent form here. I don't really care. I'm going to be fading him. Something's off with him. He looks absolutely terrible over the stats models too. Davis Riley might catch some steam off his last finish, but I'm going to be fading him too. Hopefully he gets a little steamed up. But mainly just those 3 guys are I'm going to be overweight on in this range.
I mean, the thing about Hoffman is like he's been terrible for a while now, and it just hasn't mattered at this course. Like there's something about this course that he likes, and so for me, I'm a course history guy. I just feel like certain players have courses that they really like, and he still has his PGA Tour card. He's obviously still playing. Obviously, the results aren't there, but when you get a guy like that who's in his comfort zone, hits a few shots, makes a few birdies, it all comes back to him. That's where the momentum starts. That's why I like, I know there's a crowd out there that says course history doesn't matter. In certain times it doesn't. I think there are also certain times that it really does. And I think for Charlie Hoffman, this could be one of those times. I don't think I can fade him. Like, I think his ownership is going to do this. I think at the start of the week, I think the thought of the course history there is going to inflate ownership. And then I think a lot of people are talking off of him because of his recent form, which has been terrible. I think his ownership is going to come down a lot. And I think he could be an interesting tournament play. If I was playing cash or like a higher stakes single entry, I'm not playing Charlie Hoffman, but I think in 150 play, I think you definitely want him in your lineups because he has winning upside here. And he has upside in general here. So that's my comments on Hoffman. Obviously a complete, shot in the dark. Just going back up to the top, I think Hadwin is obviously one of the better plays in the field. T7, T9. He's made 4 of his last 5 cuts. Putter's looking good. He has history here. A T23 last year. So he checks a lot of the boxes that I'm looking at. Now we'll go down to Kevin Streelman, Streal Daddy, as we call him. I think he might be one of the best plays across the board this week. Just look at what he's done. T7 at the Valspar, T22 at the Players. Players is a ball striking Pete Dye track where you got to get off the tee and then you got to, hit greens. T22, they're very, very impressive in my opinion. I don't think he's missed the cut here over the last at least 10 to 15 years. The last results I see, if we're going way back, is a T13 in 2012. So Streal Daddy has the experience here. His game is trending in the right direction. His last three of his last 5 events, he's made the cut. And when he makes the cut, he shows upside. So I absolutely love Streal Daddy here. Luke List, this guy is just, man, a monster off the tee. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with him. I think he's going to be in my pool because I'm going to play this route where I'm really heavy on these mid-tier guys and I'm fading the guys up top. So I definitely want a guy like Luke List in my build. Charlie Hoffman, I already made comments on. I kind of like him. And then Patton Kazire, I can get on board with you guys. Ryan Palmer's the other guy too that I'm going to be high on. Texas guy, plays well down here in Texas. The putter is kind of in shambles right now, but if you remove the putting, his game looks pretty good right now. And I think get on a familiar track, a track that he has a lot of upside on, multiple top 10s here. I think that he's going to do very well for us. And at 8K on DraftKings, I think that's a very favorable price tag that we can get on Brian Palmer, a guy that just, when you look at this field top to bottom, he should definitely be able to compete. So for me, my 1 and 2, very easily Kevin Streelman, number 1. And then my number 2 is going to be Ryan Palmer. Snyder, you're 1 and 2 in this range.
I'm going to go Kevin Streelman 1 as well. I'm going to go Patton Kazire number 2.
Very good. Uncle T, you're 1 and 2, and then take us down into the 7K range.
Yeah, number 1 in this range is going to be Adam Hadwin at the top, and then I'm going to go right below him with Kevin Streelman, Streal Daddy, as the number 2 guy. And then as we go into the 8 or under 8K range here, guys, I really like Robert McIntyre at the top of the board, 7,900, obviously making his debut here, but he is off 3 straight top 15s. He did miss the pool play last week. He got in with, I believe it was Kokrak, Morikawa, and Sergio. So he was in a tough pod last week. I think he lost to Morikawa and Kokrak, if I'm not mistaken. And I think he beat Sergio pretty good on that last day, but played pretty good golf, just ran into a tough pod. So, but prior to that match play, again, 3 straight top 15s worldwide. I think he finished T15 at the Genesis. He's a guy that we've been kind of waiting. Again, this is a lesser field, obviously, event. I've been waiting for this guy to come over here. He don't play a whole lot in the States to really break through and maybe win, as crazy as that sounds, or at least maybe contend on a Sunday and get his feet wet, because he's a very talented golfer, a lefty. He's also 40-1 on DK Sportsbook, $7,900. I think that's a good buy from a DFS standpoint as well. So I do like him quite a bit. In this range for me too, again, I mentioned it earlier, obviously a lot of these guys are qualified for next week, but as far as the big name guys, again, you got Kuchar in here, you got Poulter, you got Ricky Fowler that I know a couple guys in the chat were talking about. These are guys that they got all the motivation, right? They got all the motivation to get into next week, but they've got to win. But for me, I'm going to go Sahith Theegala. I really like him quite a bit as well. His odds were 110-1. Now they're down to 75-1. So like him quite a bit. He's got a T7th at the Valspar, coming off a T22 at the Corrales. So he's one of them guys that just can't put 4 rounds together. I know Snyder follows him quite a bit, and he'll say the same thing. He just can't. He seems like he plays 3 rounds each tournament that are well, and then he has 1 round that kind of holds him back from maybe contending on a Sunday. So like Theegala quite a bit here. The one guy I will play, I think, is going to be Ian Poulter out of that group of guys I just mentioned that need to get in of the big name guys. I think Ian Poulter knows what he has to do. I think either 2 or 3 years ago, didn't he was in a similar situation here on one of the tournaments and needed to win to get, was it this one? Okay.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So I not that means a ton, but what it means is he's playing this week with a ton of motivation, knows how to get it done. Hasn't won in quite a while is the only thing with him, but it's $7,700 DFS wise. Definitely like him. One of my favorite players in this top range, upper range of the 7K is Doug Ghim. I played him quite a bit last year. Haven't played him almost at all since that, when he started playing poor golf in the fall, but he's rested since a T6 at the Players where he just crushed, came out of nowhere. No one was on him. He did withdraw, I think, from the Valspar, if I'm not mistaken. So not sure if that was an injury or not, but I do like some Doug Ghim. Lonto Griffin always feels cheap to me, 7,500 in a field like this. Hasn't really popped lately, hasn't played very well lately. But he feels like for this, again, for this field, the type of golfer he is, very fairly priced. And we can always play some Party Marty Laird, right? He's got 4 top 35s, 3 top 30s in this event recently. So don't mind him. Are we going all the way down, AP, or you just want to go in the top half?
We go all the way down on the show.
Okay.
Uncle
All right.
Pete.
We go. All right. All right. So I'll go down. I'll leave a few for you guys, but Nick Taylor, 7,300. Actually, he's a very safe play, I think, in that range to make the cut. Probably finish 25th or 30th, maybe top 20 upside in this type of field. Takumi Kanaya, I watched him quite a bit. Again, I watched the match play almost hole for hole like you guys did. This guy looked good last week. He really did. Very talented golfer. Finished T9 last week at the match play. Don't mind him at all. Then I skipped quite a few guys. I know Chad Ramey won last week at Corrales. I'll probably stay away from him. He also has a T5 at Puerto Rico a few weeks back. I think some people will go there with Ramey. I'm not going to do it. Going down the board a little bit, 7,100, Matt Nee Smith. I think he'll be one of the more popular guys for sure in this entire range. I'm showing maybe 12 or 13%. My boy Anirban Lahiri, AP. I know you like to give me a hard time about Lahiri, but hey, he's got a. What would a show be for me to come back and with you guys and not mention my boy
Second
Lahiri?
of the players. Second of the players. I love it. I love it.
Let me tell you, he's 3 for 3 here, AP, with a solo 5th last year. And again, he's coming off it now. Before the T2 at the Players where he came out of nowhere, he was in awful form. But maybe he found something, got a little confidence. And then two last guys I'll mention at the very bottom of the board, 7K. I like Bo Hostler and Matt Jones. It feels like, the Aussies have played pretty well here at this tournament, over the years. So I know Matt Jones can be probably more of obviously a GPP play, but, he's been known as throwing, didn't he throw his putter in the lake or at the one tournament?
Yeah, he did. Yep.
Yeah. So, but for 7K, I do think he's really good around the greens and on the greens, which I think you're going to need this week. So I don't mind Hostler and Jones at the bottom of the 7K range here.
The crazy thing is, like, then he pulls out a wedge or whatever, and he's almost just as good putting with a wedge, right on the blade there. It's just so impressive. And yeah, good comment about the Aussies. I think part of that is due to wind. We're going to get wind on Friday. If you look at Friday, it's projecting to be all day. So I don't think there's going to be much of a weather edge. You're going to get right around 12 to 15, possibly sustained with about 20 mile an hour gusts. So I love that call on Matt Jones, a guy who could play very well in the wind. Lots of good calls down in this range. Snyder, 7K, a big range, but talk to us about the guys specifically that you are high on this week.
I'm going to have some Sahith for sure up at the top of that range. I like how he's under 8K here in this event. I think this is a nice field for him. Good price tag. He did struggle a little bit after that close call at the Waste Management Phoenix Open, but he's kind of battled back as of late. 7th at the Valspar, 22nd last week. Plays the par 5s really well. A great tee to green game, so I really like him here if he can make some putts. I think Matt Kuchar might gain a little steam, but I can't play his dusty ass here. I think he's a recent form guy that people are going to be on, but I'm not going to get there. I'm going to put him in the same bucket as our guy, Ricky Flower there. People are saying he could win this to get into the Masters, but I'm just not on him. I mean, until he's priced in like the mid 6Ks, I will not be going to Mr. Flower. I do really like KH Lee this week. TPC track, so sign me up for Mr. KH Lee. 23rd and 14th in his 2 trips here. Nice win odds here at the price. He's 55-1. Near even money matchup against Kazire, and he's priced a little under him in DraftKings. So he's a big favorite over Hogard 2, -164. 11 straight made cuts from Mr. Lee. Love the price here. I think Lee might be my favorite value play the whole week as well, too. So I like him in this 7K range.
Hold on, I got to interrupt you for the first time. We do this from time to time on the Wednesday show. I gotta interrupt, AP. I want some KH Lee dollars from Snyder.
Absolutely. Who you want?
I'll take the Gala.
I already like the Gala.
Can't do Thigala.
I'll do Gim.
You can go up. Though.
I'll take Gim. Yeah.
I'll take.
That's fair.
Who else?
I'll take
Poulter. I'll take
Poulter. Yeah, I'll take Poulter.
Can I take KH Lee?
I want KH Lee too. Let me write these names down. I'm on a big T here.
Snyder has been so on point with this KH Lee guy. I'm not a KH Lee person at all.
Can I write you down for Poulter? Who else you want?
Hold on, Snyder. Let me finish my. What upside has she shown? Like this, we're not allowed to disagree or agree on everything, right? That's what makes the show.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I mean, I don't show where he's got any top 25 since like October.
He's got 2 top 25s at this event.
Well, yeah, but okay. I mean, if that's
he's got a 26. He's got a 26 4 weeks ago. I mean, he's just been making cuts.
Here, let me write this down.
Poulter.
I got Gim.
You got Gim. You got Poulter.
And I got Bobby Mack.
Bobby Mack, where's he at? He's 79.
He's 7,900.
No, I don't want Bobby Mack or
you're gonna pick and choose around there? All right.
I'm gonna pick and choose around the same price range. 76
gotcha.
or we got 2?
We'll lock those 2 for now. We'll get into some more after the show.
Sounds good. Can't
wait.
I
didn't mean to interrupt.
Wait. While we're getting winners out, no, let's finish this off. Uncle T. Who's your favorite guy in this range, real quick?
I like Bobby McIntyre 1 and Sahith Theegala 2.
Okay, can I get Brian Stewart against Bobby Mack?
Who?
Brian Stewart.
Where's he at?
Say who? And I
Where's he at? I'm trying to
Brian
find
Stewart's gonna ship. I'll.
Oh yeah, I like no.
Stewart's a good play.
I can't do that. I actually missed him. I got him shaded in yellow.
You can't do that. Now you're backing out.
I wanted to leave some players for you guys. I didn't want to mention everybody like Snyder does. So I actually have him shaded in yellow.
My wife's gonna yell at me that I'm yelling because my kids are going to bed.
That's funny.
No, very good. I approve of those guys though. You and Snyder and Uncle T. I love it.
Right
Where
on.
were we at? Who was going?
I interrupted. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna mention like Brendan Steele. I think I'll have some of him. He'll be in the MME for sure. I'm not sure how much. Maybe like 15% of him or so. Solid event history here, and he comes off a couple nice finishes, 26th and 13th leading up. So he's got good event history with recent form leading in. Brendan Steele.
Brendan Steele.
7,600.
I love Brendan Steele too. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to Stewart. I do like Stewart. He got 4th here a couple years ago. He's riding off that 7th, 16th, 22nd. I mean, I think Stewart's a great play in this range. Our guy Hoop isn't here, so I got to mention Nick Taylor for him. Just real solid. I mean, Nick Taylor's so consistent. 7-3 is a great price tag for him. 65 to 1 to win. He's made 9 of his last 10 cuts. 6 of his last 8 events, he's finished 33rd or better. So I like Nick Taylor there. I think Lucas Glover's a good GPP play. Scott Stallings is another guy I'll be on here. Kind of different betting numbers here. He's 130 at DK and 65 at FanDuel. Pair of top 25s in his last 4 visits here. 42nd at the Players. And he followed that up with a 16th at Valspar. So I like Stallings. I think Denny McCarthy is going to be a kind of a safer play in this range. He's plus 105 versus Streelman in the betting markets. 2 top 35s in his last 3 trips here for Denny. I think Troy Merritt's a great option down here. A really good cheap price tag I like down here. 55 to 1 to win at DraftKings. Minus 120 favorite over Ian Poulter in the betting market. So I like Troy Merritt down there. Good form heading in as well as a solid event history here as well for Merritt. So I like Merritt. I think you can bucket Nee Smith, Smalley, Lahiri all in one bucket. They're all 7-1. They all have a 3rd place or better entering this event from last week, the last event that they played in. Nee Smith finished 34th here last year. Lahiri finished 5th here last year. I think Kramer Hickok's another guy down that low 7K range that I'll be on. Pretty good form entering in, 42nd, 33rd, and 13th in his last event. So I like Hickok. I'm going to go back to my guy Taylor Moore here for some. I think he'll be like 5% owned maybe this week, so I'll have probably like 15% of him or so. I think this is a good spot for him to bounce back and rebound here. I mean, he had a couple good what do you have here? I need to click on him. He was really good to start out. I think he had a bunch of like top 30s. He's had a couple bad events. He miscut the Valspar, miscut the Players. He was on that bad weather draw at the Players, so I'm going to give him that miscut. 22nd at Genesis, 16th at Pebbles, 8th at the RSM, 17th at St. Anderson's Farm, 24th at the Shriners. So Taylor Moore's definitely got that top 25 upside down here in the range, so I'll be going to him some. I think that's about it for me in this 7K range. I may add some more in the chat, maybe like a CT pan or something. You got Richard Blaine's down here. Dylan Fertelli, Texas guy down here. Yeah. But Bo Hostler might catch some steam too. Patty Perez. But yeah, you can finish out with the guys you like here, AP.
Yeah, I think as tournament players, we should really, kind of applaud what Matt Kuchar did at the Valspar. Placed 16th, showed signs of life. If you dive deeper into it, though, on the surface, he gained 7 strokes overall, 6.2 strokes tee to green. But if you look under the hood, he gained almost all of those strokes around the green. So that means chipped in. He, made some incredible, chips, putts, and off the tee and approach was not good, and it hasn't been good for quite some time. And that's what we want at this event. It's and it's pretty easy to understand why when we've seen Corey Connors do well here, when we've seen these other ball strikers do very well here. So while I want to love the narrative behind Matt Kuchar, I'm like, gosh, I should just eliminate him from my pool, because it's so easy to get sucked into playing a guy like that. That's a name that's shown a little bit of life. I think he's a better fade, because what I've seen happen is his ownership just goes up, and he's going to be much overowned relative to where he should be when you look at his game. Same could be said for Ricky Fowler. Both of those guys I have coming in right around 8 to 10% owned, which I think is just too high. So I agree 100% with you. And I'm going to throw Ian Poulter right in there too. Sorry, Uncle T, but Ian Poulter.
I got Poulter.
I said I'm zero chance of playing
him. Go. I love being arm in arm. Love being arm in arm with AP. Love it.
I'm not arm in arm with you, Uncle
I thought
T.
you said you liked Poulter.
No, I'm putting him in the same category as Ricky Fowler and Matt Kuchar.
You talk about getting me excited and then back.
We are detached. We are not arm in arm.
Damn. I get treated poorly on this Tuesday show.
No, Uncle T, you had many good calls that were going to be locked arm in arm, and I just can't do Poulter, Fowler, or Kuchar.
I'm not
Brendan Steele, Cage Lee, I like those guys. Lanto Griffin, Uncle T, that was a you call. I like Lanto. Party Martin Laird, I think, is another one of the best plays on the slate. 2 missed cuts, but man, his history here is very, very good. And he's just a guy I like to play. He's number 1 over the last 24 rounds at hitting fairways, or good drives is another metric that they use to track that. Troy Merritt, a guy, cheap guy in these fields that aren't as strong that we like to play. I can get on board with him. Nick Taylor, Hoops boy, definitely a good play. Brian Stewart, the play I mentioned. I just think Brian Stewart, one, he has upside here. He's shown it. T4 in 2019. And then if you look at what he's done recently, he's done a lot for us. T7, T16. He did miss a cut at the Players. T22, T9. So he's got a lot of good stuff coming into this event. Lahiri, I'm going to get on board with you. I'm going to have a few shares of Lahiri. Matt Jones, I like that call as well. And Bo Hostler, I also liked him. So you guys covered kind of a few of the guys that I like. If I had to quickly kind of, say my 1 and 2 in this range, I think it's going to be 1, Martin Laird, and then 2, Brian Stewart. So going with the older guys this week, just for my boy Uncle T and myself. I can't lie, I'm getting up there too. So we're locked arm in arm, Uncle T. We're getting up there. Snyder, what was your 1 and 2?
I'm going to go KH Lee number 1, and then give me Nick Taylor number 2. I guess it's close. Nick Taylor and Troy Merritt are kind of like Nick Taylor and Troy Merritt are really close to me for a number 2.
Yeah, I like that quite a bit. Uncle T, you're 1 and 2 in this range, and then take us into the 6K range.
Yeah, Bobby McIntyre up top. I really like him. Again, he's bet all the way down to 40 to 1 as far as outright. So I don't think there's a whole lot of wiggle room there to really get money for your value. But see, Heath Thagala too. But I will mention that we all did all the way down at the bottom. Matt Jones is a terrific play at 7K. So I will mention him as maybe a close third, if you will, as far as my ranking there. But going into the 6K range here, again, I don't know that we'll need to dip too far into this range, right? I mean, especially if we have builds where we're skipping the 10K range, and in some cases maybe skipping the 96 through 99 range. I mean, we're going to have where we shouldn't need to go down here. But if we do, David Lipsky, I think, is a guy that's popped a little bit lately, coming off at T7, has some decent finishes, hasn't played here that I know of. Brandon Grace, I put in the category with Charlie Hoffman, right, guys, where he's got really elite course history at T9, T10, T23, but he's in awful form, right? But again, the difference here from him and Hoffman is I might be able to put him in my pool because he's only 6,900. So you're not paying a premium here. Maybe like AP mentioned about Hoffman, maybe he goes back to a place where he's familiar, where he's had some success. Only $6,900. If you're going to go down here, I could maybe get a share of Brandon Grace. Going down a little bit, I know Smotherman's a guy that we've played a little bit recently. Don't mind him. Going down, Grayson Sig at 6,700 I like. Our boy Kevin Chappell, previous winner here, also a T4 here, coming off at T15. Maybe he's found himself a little bit going into, again, a course where he's played very well. Doc Redmond feels way too cheap at 6,700. Hasn't shown a huge amount of upside, but again, in a tournament like this, Doc, I could easily see at $7,300, $7,400 in this tournament. And then going down a little bit, I'll mention one other guy, Patrick Rogers, 6,600. Got a little bit of interest in him. And then if we really wanted to full punt AP, I'll mention a couple guys down there we've used before, Richie Rowinski and Chesson Hadley. Oh
boy.
Other than that, again, a handful of guys that definitely are plug and plays if you needed the value. But for me, I'm not really going to dip down into this range very much.
It's so funny, like DraftKings priced Doc Redmond at like 7.4K at the Players, a field that is just completely stacked, much better than this field. And then we come here and he's 6.7K. So
great point.
Very funny how their algorithm works, but it's just something that, we notice and pick up on. I'm on board with you on a lot of those plays, Uncle T. So I like that. It makes me feel good about this range. Snyder, what are you doing with the 6K range this week?
I'm going to start off with David Lipsky near the top of this range. I've been playing him as of late. He's been pretty good too. 7th, 68th, 26th, 55th over his last 4 events. He's kind of been Monday queuing for a couple of events. Been playing good, taking the most out of his opportunity. So I'm going to keep playing him. I know you're probably going to hit on Nate Lashley there. Let me see. I like some Grayson Sig there. I think he's a solid guy. 3 straight events where he's bettered his finish in his last 3 events, 68th, 48th, 25th. Made the cut here last year. I like him there. I'm going to be on some – actually, I'm not going to play Kevin Chappell. I've heard some rumblings of him. He finished 15th in his last event, does have a win here in 2017, did finish top 15 or top 5 in 2016 as well. But I'm going to probably go off him. I'm going to go right below him to Adam Shank. He was a guy we were kind of on last year. He was really consistent. Once he got hot, he was just making cut after cut after cut. He was like a cash game play we were playing. 7th last week, and he did finish 7th here in 2019. So I'm going to have some Shank in my lineups. I like the Doc Redmond call down there. I think he's underpriced for this event. Hank Leviota, he's kind of showing some signs of like where he's coming back to where he was at times. Where we were playing him quite a bit last year until he hit that wall. I mean, he does have a 17th place finish here in 2019, 36th in his last event. So I'll probably have some of him. Give me some. I'll probably have some Tyler Duncan as well. I've been on him as of late. He's had 3, 4, 5 straight made cuts. 3 really good finishes for him in this price range. He's 6'5" and he's finished 35th or better in his last 3 events. So I'm going to have some of him down there. Probably going to have some. Oh man, I'm looking at the guy. I just can't pull the trigger on Snedeker. Definitely can't get there. I mean, JT Poston, maybe I can get to him. He had some. He showed some flashes earlier this year, so I might get to him some. He's made the cut here 3 straight times, so I'll probably have some Poston at 6'3". I think that's a really good price. Our guy Peter Malinetti's down there. He flashed for us some. I'll probably have some of him. 6'2" is just way too cheap for Malinetti, and 6'3" is just way too cheap for Poston, especially with this field size. So, I mean, those are the guys I'm going to be mainly on in this bottom range.
Yeah, when you look at this range, it kind of reinforces that mid-tier build where you're eliminating the 10K and up range. You're getting exposure to the 9K guys, upper 8K guys, and then we talked about a lot of really good options that I think in the 7K range that we can use as kind of like a last fill in to those builds, or take two pieces from that 7K range, which will allow you to get multiple 8K, 9K guys. But I do think there are some really good plays down in this range. David Lipsky, I'm on board there. He's just a cut maker, and then he showed some upside most recently at the Corrales. So you like to see that. One guy that you guys didn't mention that I have in my pool that I think he's actually a really good play and very sneaky, or maybe sneaky, J Spahn. He's shown some life of late, and he's played well in Texas too. And he's a good ball striker, and when he's motivated, mind you. And we've seen that lately. So I'll have a little bit of J Spahn. Adam Shank, I wasn't on, but now that I'm looking at him, Snyder, I like that call. I think it's a very good call. Doc Redmond, this was a guy who did very well at the Players, and DraftKings sharply priced him at like 7.3 or 7.4K. And he's 6.7K now. So I like that call as well. Kevin Chappell, I've also heard getting some steam, former winner here. I'm not buying it at all. I've really seen one good finish. And I mean, sure, maybe include him in my player pool. I could also just see him being one of those guys I cut to get my player pool down to that range that I like it. Before I go into my favorite play, I do got to say, Pistol Pete, my boy, former workbench play, Uline, Pete Uline. He's a flat 6K, and not the workbench play or anything like that.
I think he's overpriced.
It's hurtful.
Have you seen his lady?
He wasn't your workbench.
Have you seen his lady, Uncle T?
We're not talking about ladies. We're talking about golf.
I don't know how to continue. I don't know if I can continue.
Don't tell me he was your work. He wasn't your work.
No. He's a former two-time workbench player of the week.
Oh,
Pete,
I respect that.
No, I'm saying not this year. I'm saying
okay. You had me worried. I was going to feel real bad.
No. No, it would take a lot. So here's the thing: if you get that, if he's ever the third time workbench player of the week, and he hurts my feelings again, he's on the list. And I don't like guys going onto the list. Yeah, he's on. And so it's going to take a lot for him to make that category. That is not it, but he's 6K. So if you're doing a stud and dud route, I think he's going to be the anchor that a lot of people use. So I'm probably going to be off him this week. But I do think, and Snyder mentioned him, I do think the best play by far in the 6K range is Nate Lashley. Look at what this guy's doing right now. T15, T27, T7 at the Puerto Rico. This dude is the ball striking is good. Off the tee is very good, and the putter is starting to come to life. 6.9K. Nate Lashley, 2 missed cuts here. I don't think he misses a third time in a row. I think he does very well for us. I'm going to say another top 20 finish in a row for Nate Lashley this week. He's my notebook play of the week, but I will say I much prefer Brian Stewart at 7.2K or Martin Laird at 7.5K. But I'm gonna leave it at that. Nate Lashley, my favorite play in this range. Snyder, what was your favorite play in the 6K range?
I'm going to go with my guy, David Lipsky. It's my favorite play. And then I'm going to come down for a cheapie. I'm going to pick our guy, Peter Malinetti. I think he can pay off his price tag down here. Maybe he can get us inside that top 30 again, like he did a few weeks back.
Yeah, the only thing I don't like about Malinetti is the hats he wears. Little bucket hat, just freaking God, come on, get Uncle T, favorite play in the 6K range.
Yeah, I can confirm bad lid. That's a bad lid. I agree, AP. That's terrible. I like the Lipsky call. I'm gonna go Grayson Sig 1 and Doc Redmond 2.
Doc Redmond's the other good man. Really good play, I think. Very good play. All right, boys. Absolutely love it. I think we're dialed in for this week. Let's move on to our winners. How we do it each and every week. We give whoever we think is just, odds not really in consideration, who we just think is going to win. And then we give everyone a longer shot that we think there is some value to bet on. Snyder, let me start with you. Who do you got to win this week?
Yeah, I'm going to go with a guy who I said was going to get a win coming into this year. I think this is the spot where he's going to get it. I'm going to go with my guy, Mcnealy here, 35-1 to win the event.
What, a longer shot or
a longer shot? I'm gonna go with Kevin Shreelman at 65-1. I think that's a great odds for him. 65, it's pretty good. I mean, I might have taken some plays there, but the 65 is just too big. And that 65 is just too big.
Snyder? Too big.
Probably won't be there.
They call him Streal Daddy for a reason. Like, talking about Snyder over here, talking about too big. Uncle T, who do you got for winners this week?
Snyder is going to spark some wood because he definitely pulled my Mad Mcnealy call. So I'm gonna go away from Mad Mcnealy. I'm gonna go Gary Woodland. I think again his game is trending. We'll talk about it a little bit tomorrow night on the bet show with JJ and Allie and Mangone and Snyder and myself. So we'll get into some more outrights, top 20s, some matchups. But I do like Gary Woodland as my winner, 30-1 right now. And my long shot, I'm going to go down the board, AP. I'm going all the way down towards the bottom of the 7K range. I'm going to go with Matthew Nee Smith, 100-1. I think he could, possibly contend and get up there as far as a longer shot.
So love those calls. Absolutely love those calls. And I at this type of event, I think it's good. Like if you have $100, take, divide it up into, you could do like 20s or 10s or whatever and sprinkle it on some of these longer shot odds. And I think it's a fun way to, throw some money around this week, because I do think this is an event where we see one of these guys lesser known win. And so for me, it's Chris Kirk. Now I've had him as a winner already, like one of my picks. I don't care. Every time we get to an event like this where everything aligns, where the course fits in very well, and where the field isn't, too strong, I'm gonna put an outright on him, 50-1 this week. Chris Kirk. My other guy was Streelman, but I'm gonna go a little bit different. Let me. So I'm gonna go with my boy. Hold on. I got to check two odds here. So I'm gonna go with. I'm looking at Brian Stewart, who I think is 125-1, and then the other. I'm torn between him and Nate Lashley. So I think the thing is like at 125-1, you don't have to do put $10 on it and see what happens. I mean, it's like Nate Lashley, PGA Tour winner, won a track, at a track similar to this ball striking type of course. And Brian Stewart, I just love the form. So at an event like this, where we've seen guys like Party Marty, up there in the winner's circle, and I'm trying to pull Brendan Steele's one here. Kevin Chappell, Andrew Landry. We see kind of unknowns win at a track like this. So sign me up for Lashley and for Stewart. Snyder, any final thoughts this week?
Yeah, looking forward to the showdown content we're going to have. I think I'm scheduled to be on Thursday and Friday shows over on the Mayo Media Network. So looking forward to that. I'll have the showdown playbook up too for rounds 1 through 4 over on runpuresports.com. If you haven't joined, join the movement now. Looking forward to this event more than I was coming into the day. So, and then this is going to lead us into the main course next week, which definitely stoked for the first major and everything that's coming with it, with the possible Tiger sightings. Hopefully people jam Tiger and Spieth together. And then, but yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting into this event more, and looking forward to the Wednesday show too tomorrow with everybody that's going to be on the premium side.
So one last note, and what made me think about it was the showdown shows. I'm looking at the weather right now. Maybe Rory. So a comment in the chat. Rory is out at Augusta, practicing with Tiger. I absolutely love that. Looking at the winds right now, these guys are facing 30-mile-an-hour gusts today and tomorrow. The winds just look absolutely brutal. Thursday looks phenomenal. Thursday looks like a top 5 day of golf. And then we go to Friday, which I don't think is going to be too bad. 10-mile standard day down in Texas, 10-mile-an-hour, 20-mile-an-hour gusts, kind of like here in Nebraska, which, if you play down there a lot, like you just get used to that type of wind. Nothing that these guys that's going to really change them. But when you get up to that 30 number like that, man, those gusts absolutely changes things. But what I was getting at is the showdown shows. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about weather. We're going to talk about who's playing good. We're going to reference in tournament stats, and we're going to help you find the edge. So rounds 2, 3, and then 4, we're going to have shows for. So make sure that you check out that content. Uncle T, final thoughts for this week.
Yeah, like Snyder said, looking forward to it. Glad you guys let me hop on, filling in for Hoop. Always like getting on the shows with you guys, especially to talk some golf. So appreciate you guys treating me pretty good tonight. I said pretty good, but no, you guys did good. But no,
Uncle T.
No, again, showdown content. We've got the premium golf show tomorrow night with Tambo and Big T. I may or may not be on with Hoop, but there'll be a combination of us. We also have the bet show going on tomorrow night. And again, next week, guys, it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. You guys can't wait. Will Rory complete the Grand Slam next week? I don't think he will, but, it'll be some talk next week and be a lot of fun. So thanks for letting me join you guys.
I mean, my last comment is, we're already getting into next week, but Brooks Koepka, 9.4K, has me just, salivating at the mouth.
It'll be a tough fade.
Anyways,
absolutely.
Anyways, we got to stay focused on this week and the Valero and shipping this week. So all the content's going to be out tonight, tomorrow. Core plays will be up tomorrow. Cash chart, the playbook, and tiers. We're always going to be in Discord. We have the premium show tomorrow night. If you haven't yet, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm AP. That's Snyder. That's Uncle T. Simon, get us out of here.